Mamdani?
Thank you, and solidarity forever. We're with you.
New rare Mamdani speech just dropped, I hear. I'm really interested in seeing how the rhetoric develops from my friend over here, my big guy over here. Because at some point, like, when is the rhetoric going to shift? It's not just Cuomo, right? Now it's like Cuomo, Adams, Silva, and also the Democrats in New York who won't endorse him.
So we have one more speaker before we get to the main attraction. Brendan Griffin, acting president of the New York State.
Nice try. But the mandate must be respected.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all so much. It is such a pleasure to be here today. And I have to thank Rich for hosting us. I have to ask, is HTC in the house? It is an honor to be standing alongside Manny. Is 32BJ in the house? And to be here alongside Nancy is Neisner in the house. And alongside Brendan, representing a labor federation of 1 million workers. It is such an honor. And I truly thank you. I would say, are you in the house? And here you are. To stand here alongside these unions, it's especially meaningful for me. Because this entire campaign has been about ensuring that this city, the most expensive city in the United States of America, finally become affordable for the working New Yorkers who make it so special. And to take on inequality, we know the most effective tool is union density. And so to stand here alongside some of the most incredible unions...
I so desperately need unions to become political organizations again. It is so annoying. It is so wild and so annoying that the largest unions in the United States, by virtue of unions largely being like, you know, blue-collar workers, they're doing trades, oftentimes they're Republicans. These unions are not like partisan socialist organizations, when they really, really, really should be.
I have ever had the privilege of knowing and working with. It is an honor. For me as a person, it is an honor for this campaign, and it is an honor for this movement to finally make the city affordable. And we stand here today with these endorsements, reflecting on the results of yesterday. Results where we saw that more than 545,000 New Yorkers gave us a mandate to make this city affordable. And I say the word mandate because this was the most votes any movement has received in 36 years in mayoral elections. A mandate because we won this election by 12 points after just 3 rounds. And a mandate because New Yorkers deserve nothing less than a city where they do more than just struggle. A city where they can return to the dreams that brought them here in the first place. And we see this moment where, as Brendan was saying, the choice we have in front of us, we see a very different choice being taken in Washington, D.C. As we look at legislation that just passed the Senate, legislation that is a betrayal of working class Americans from coast to coast, legislation that seeks to steal from the hungry, to cut health care from the workers, all to aid those who already have more money than they know what to do with. And legislation that is being done by the direction of a president who claims to fight for working people. And we know that in this moment, it is up to us in this city to show that we can not only fight back against authoritarianism, but we can also fight for working people. And we do those things together because we understand that democracy is under attack from both. It is under attack from Washington, D.C., and it's under attack from within, as more and more working people have greater and greater doubts as to whether their needs can actually be met by this politics. And we stand here today to say, yes, we can do both of those things. We can do them in the same way that Fiorello LaGuardia fought for immigrants and fought for dignity at the same time. And we can do them even in contrast to that which we have seen pass for leadership here in this city. Because as I stand here alongside our ever-expanding coalition, I am confident of not only winning a city hall that puts working people first.
Have you seen the Mamdani accent switching vids? I'm going to be real with you. Anyone who lives in New York and who doesn't reflexively have a few different dialects or tones they use in different situations, I don't trust you. You must not have like a very multicultural friend group. It's new, dude, literally all people do this unless they grow up in a monocultural environment. Like, it's super, yeah, I mean, well, you do it too, right? Like, you talk differently with your parents than you do when you're talking with ya boys on the street. People are racist, so when a brown person does it, they're like, this is mischievous oriental code switching, you know? This is fake accent maneuvering. He's deceiving people, you know? It's nothing, you know?
But finally bringing an end to the chapter in our city, led by our current mayor, to raise rents on those same New Yorkers, to price those same New Yorkers out of this city, and to do all of those things while collaborating with the Trump administration that is seeking to attack the very fabric of this city. And I say that also as someone who came to this city and this country at the age of 7, who grew up in this city, who fell in love with this city, who got married in this city, who got my citizenship in this city. And those same blocks I used to love, the ones between Federal Plaza and the clerk's office, those are the same blocks now today where so many New Yorkers say goodbye to their loved ones and they don't know for how long. We are going to fight for every single one of those New Yorkers, and we are going to do so because they deserve that from their city government. And in this moment, New Yorkers deserve a leader that will continue to look forward, will continue to expand this coalition, will never be satisfied with the idea of winning an election, but rather leading a city. Though we may have won on Tuesday, though we will continue to fight to win in November, we will look to represent every single New Yorker, whether they voted for me, whether they voted for someone else, or whether they didn't vote at all because of their lack of faith in this political system. I will be your leader, and I will lead you to a city.
It seems to me like code switching is yet another case of academic language sounding weird in the wild. Yeah, it does sound a little bit nefarious. It's just, the problem is that, like, literally everybody does it. I wish there wasn't even a term for it. I wish it was just, yeah, no shit, you talk differently sometimes. Everyone does. It came for free with your cerebral cortex. I don't know. It's really dumb.
That you can afford, a city that you will be safe in, and a city that will finally show what politics can look like, and that it can be more than just a mirror of what we see in DC, and it can instead build on the incredible accomplishments and achievements of organized labor for so many years in this city, and there's no greater partner in doing so than these incredible unions today. Thank you so much.
We have time for two on-topic questions.
Oh yeah, hit it.
We have time for 2 on-topic questions. Josie?
Will you marry me?
So the government Al Sharpton today on MSNBC called for Cuomo to step out of the mayoral race. What's your response to that? Do you think Cuomo should step out? And then I also have a question for the union leaders here. Yeah.
You know, I appreciated when Andrew Cuomo called me last Tuesday evening and conceded this race. And he told me what he then shared with others, which was the campaign we had built had connected with people across the city. And I told him what I've said since, which is that I'm looking to unite this city, to unite this party, to look forward. I leave the decisions of who will or will not run up to them. But what I have appreciated is the fact that this coalition continues to expand each and every day. And it continues to reach out across the 5 boroughs to New Yorkers to make clear that this is a vision for every single person.
I do not understand why Cuomo called to concede to Mamdani when Cuomo intended to then run on as an independent in the general. Maybe he didn't at that time, and he thought he was out, and then the Dems whispered in his ear, no, you're going back in for one more job. You're running in the general. Because, like, why else would you? It just gives Mamdani such an easy, he can keep repeating this over and over and over again.
And I'm so excited to be here with just one example of that expansion.
Okay. Hi. So my number 2 questions. Very quickly, the first is about your free bus proposal. Have you made any inroads funding for it? And if you wanted to speak briefly about why buses, you know, I know sometimes are overlooked in these larger transit plans. And my second question is President Trump's Homeland Security Council today just discussed you as a national security threat and suggested the federal government can take action against you. I guess this is all what the president said yesterday. Do
Speaker.
So I'll start with the buses. You know, a few years ago, my then Chief of Staff, now Campaign Manager, L. Bisgard Church, and I started a listening tour with transit experts, advocates, and the MTA itself. And it was in a meeting with senior officials at the MTA where someone remarked to me that if you really cared about equity, you would focus first on the buses. And it was a suggestion, and I took it to heart, because what it spoke to is the fact that bus riders are disproportionately working class across these 5 boroughs. There are more than 1 million New Yorkers who ride them every day. And these are the slowest buses in the country. When I am late and I'm getting off of the train and I'm walking up the steps, I'm walking faster than that bus. The average speed is 8 miles an hour. In parts of Manhattan, it's lower than 6. And what New Yorkers deserve is a way to get around this city that makes sense. And they deserve a system that is reliable, that is safe, that is efficient. And as an assembly member who, alongside the Deputy Majority Leader Mike Gianaris in the state Senate, won the first fare-free bus pilot, we saw that in making a bus free, it wasn't just economic relief. It was that ridership then went up by up to 38%. It was public safety, as assaults on bus drivers went down by 38.9%. And it was also a question of the environmental impacts, as 11% of new riders got out of a car or a taxi and got onto the bus. One of the many things that makes me proud to be a New Yorker is public transit. And as I speak to New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs, I hear their desire for world-class public transit. And to make a bus free is to take one significant step towards that. And I'm excited to work with Governor Hochul, who has been laser focused on the question of affordability, and with the MTA in identifying the revenue that will pay for this.
Interesting. Interesting that he would praise Hochul here, because of course Hochul is trying, there's an effort to primary her by the lieutenant governor, who is very explicitly pro-Mamdani. I wonder, I'm really interested to see how that race plays out. I think it's likely that Hochul, as the incumbent, stays where she is. I wonder if she feels compelled to bend the knee a little bit, because it, like, the support from Mamdani could mean not losing the governorship.
And in actually bringing it into effect such that every New Yorker can benefit from what we already saw those 5 routes bring about. Yesterday, Donald Trump said that I should be arrested. He said that I should be deported. He said that I should be denaturalized.
It's actually gotten worse since then. Trump had a meeting of the Homeland Security Advisory Council, a group that I think that's completely made up. But they held a meeting today, and they basically, they talked about Mamdani, and they said, like, yeah, dude, we should totally deport that guy.
And he said those things about me, someone who stands to be the first immigrant mayor of this city in generations, someone who would also be the first Muslim and the first South Asian mayor in this city's history. Less so because of who I am, because of where I come from, because of how I look or how I speak, and more so because he wants to distract from what I fight for. I fight for working people. I fight for the very people that have been priced out of this city, and I fight for the same people that he said he was fighting for. This is the same president who ran on a campaign of cheaper groceries, who ran on a campaign about easing a suffocating cost of living crisis. And ultimately, it is easier for him to fan the flames of division than to acknowledge the ways in which he has betrayed those working class Americans, not just in this city, but across this country, and the ways in which he continues to betray them. Because we know that he would rather speak about me than speak about the legislation that he is shepherding through Washington, D.C. Legislation that will quite literally take health care away from Americans. Legislation that will steal food from the hungry. Legislation that looks to build upon one of the largest transfers of wealth we've seen in recent history in his first administration, and do it once again for the very Americans who already have enough. We should be fighting for those that do not have what they need to live a dignified life. That is what I will do, and I am thankful to have the protection and to have the support of so many New Yorkers who
compare this to how Jeffrey spoke about the BBB, by the way. Yeah, I don't think there are many people in the Democratic leadership positions who are acting in good faith. I think for the most part they're disingenuous or they've been bought. But to liberals who are acting in good faith, can't you see that Mamdani empowers the Democratic Party? Like, the idea that you're weakening the party by embracing people like this, when Mamdani is so clearly better at this role than any Democrat in a position of national leadership, like, you have to understand that this is an improvement. But it only goes one way, right? Mamdani elevates the Democrats by being a member of them. you know, brings out more voters, brings out more energy, does not motivate people to vote Republican at all. Meanwhile, Democratic donors are very, very, very willing to get people to vote Republican or for ineffective Democrats, as long as it means people like Mamdani don't win. You know? Democrats will, in fact, choose to lose elections if it means they lose them alongside socialists.
Stood up and said how unacceptable this is, including our governor, including members of the labor movement. And ultimately, what I fear for is that if this is what Donald Trump and his administration feel comfortable about saying about the Democratic nominee for the mayor of New York City, imagine what they feel comfortable saying and doing about immigrants whose names they don't even know.
He's a convicted felon.
It's both unsurprising and quite sad to see the mayor of this city, the same city where 40% of New Yorkers were born elsewhere, find it beyond himself to defend the very citizenship of someone running for that position. I do not need Eric Adams to agree with me, but to have this be beyond the pale, it showcases the ways in which he has sacrificed the city and all that we stand for in the interests of himself. And this is part and parcel of the way in which he has responded to these very attacks. I had a Republican city council member call for me to be deported. The mayor refused to denounce that as well. And what concerns me is that we know that these are threats.
New York isn't exactly representative of a lot of America. New York is more representative of America than any other place in America because it contains within it all of America. You know, not most of America isn't a top-tier world-class city, but it contains within it all of America.
That invite further threats by others. I have received death threats on myself, on my family, and I'm thankful for the NYPD and the work that they do to keep each and every New Yorker safe, and yet I also know that leaders have a responsibility to bring down the temperature in this city, to unite all of us in this city. And we have a mayor who is doing exactly the opposite. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. Thank you.
He's so good, man. Yeah, the, hold on. Not us reporting. I'm sorry, it's not, someone linked it. It's not a fake council. It's the first time they've met, since Trump's second term began, though, I believe. Held its first meeting on Wednesday. Oh, sorry. Donald Trump's Homeland Security Advisory Council, a group that includes Rudy Giuliani, cop-turned-actor Bo Dietl, and the founder of Bikers for Trump, held its first meeting on Wednesday to discuss the top threats facing the nation. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Of course. Obviously. After hearing Giuliani deliver a speech against asylum-seeking immigrants, Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem chimed in. I want to ask you, do you want to run for mayor of New York again? Drawing cheers and applause from around the conference room. Dude, are you kidding? They're so stupid. Are you fucking Giuliani would get, like, negative vote if he ran for mayor of New York City again. Bo and I have been talking about putting together some kind of strategy. It's doable if it's one candidate. It's a suicide mission if you're three. I like that acknowledgement. It's a suicide mission if you're three. Three candidates. So that's him, Sliwa, and Adams. I appreciate, again, like, the naked corruption of the administration is, I appreciate how straightforward they are with it. Cuomo, too? Nah, they don't like Cuomo. Cuomo was like a centrist Dem tap-in, but Adams is literally a GOP asset. Oh yeah, right here. The longtime GOP politician called the Republican in the race, Curtis Sliwa, our candidate. He labeled Eric Adams, the current mayor, kind of our candidate. So yeah, there you go. No implication needed, I suppose. All of this was a prelude to a parlay over Mamdani, the 33-year-old Democratic socialist who's running on a platform that champions the working class, right? This is not an exaggerated problem, Giuliani told a 22-person council. Somehow we got the combination of an Islamic extremist and a communist. It is pretty crazy, though, like, how straightforward it's gotten, how bad it's gotten, that the Homeland Security Advisory Council finally taps in for a meeting and they're like, all right, let's talk about the mayorship of New York City. Let's immediately talk about partisan political matters. Like, not even pretending to do Homeland Security shit. I don't know. I want to do this because I'm tired of the normalization of anti-American philosophy, for example, in New York. It's amazing you can have the Hezbollah flag being marched within shouting distance of where the towers fell, said David Chesnoff, a prominent Las Vegas attorney who defended Corey Lewandowski, yet another Trump advisor on the council, from accusations of making unwanted sexual advances on a Republican donor at a 2021 event. Of course, of course. We have someone running for mayor that applauds the very same philosophy and people that did that. Chesnoff continued, we need to send a bigger message to the American public of the danger that poses. The comment appeared to catch Noam's attention. Noam, whose department oversees the increasingly militarized deportation raids frequently led by masked people who hide their names and badges, said she's looking for creative ways to expand her power. The Department of Homeland Security has authorities that have never been utilized before, and I'm going to need some good minds on how to use those authorities, she said. Said one day after Trump threatened to jail Mamdani. Yeah. Yep. I guess it is kind of nice that Kristi Noem, by virtue of being a f***ing idiot, can't say, I know what I'm going to do about him, but instead has to say, hey, can somebody think up of something to do? Like, it's not like anyone's here is competent, right? Giuliani, bikers for Trump, Jesus. Did you see billionaire Bill Ackman begging someone to run so they could throw money at him? Yeah, I saw.